So here's the thing. I have been trying to figure out what to do for a vlog for the longest time. And I've let it kind of stagnate and marinate and brine and boil until it's just nothing left. And the fact of the matter is that I just need to start actually doing it. So here's the first vlog that I've made in probably 6 years. I've done some other smaller video content here and there, but I haven't done something where I'm actually speaking to the camera for any long length of time. And I guess that's kind of what I'll talk about for the moment, is just getting started. You know, you don't have to have a niche to just get started. You don't have to have a specialty. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be anybody that you think needs to be a certain specialty that has certain skills. You can just talk to the camera as a general vlog of what did you have for breakfast this morning and what did you do today. And I think it's been a struggle for me to wrap my head around that, because I've always been part of the content game where you should have a niche. You should have a category that you fall under that you create content around. And because I've been involved in the content creation game for years. From running my own ad agency business to starting my own channels and watching content creators grow and fall over the years. I've gotten a pretty good sense of what works and what doesn't work. And ironically, through all of that, I just never took the initiative to just make a general vlog channel. And it was always something that I thought I should do and just didn't do. And yeah, about 6-7 years ago, I started making a few vlogs on my personal channel, and just stuff rambling on my way to work. And I think once I got a new job, I just kind of fell out of the habit of doing it. And yeah, life takes over, and you just lose sight of that stuff every now and then. And but here I am again, and I decided, you know what? What about that format didn't work? I'm driving my way to work this morning. Why not take a few minutes and talk to the camera about some of my thoughts and put it out there? Why not? It doesn't have to be anything special. If people tune in, great. If they don't, cool. There's a million other videos being uploaded at this same second that you can watch. So go for it. Go find something that you enjoy. Life is short, so enjoy it. Oh, but anyhow, I just wanted to talk about just get started. I have a digital product program that I have been in the process of writing for a bit over a year now. And it's the culmination of everything that I've learned in my professional career outside of content creation, and also leveraging everything that I know from content creation of being a passive observer and a small content creator myself. And I have to say, I'm very proud of the quality of it. The level of detail that I've put into this thing, it is really, it's going to change lives. I'm really excited about it. And, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm still going through adding some finishing touches and some extra details here and there. And I've edited it and re-edited it and edited it. Yeah. I've gone over it with a fine-tooth comb multiple times, and I'm always finding something else that I could have added or changed or worded a little bit differently. So it's at the point now where there's only a couple more things that it really needs, and I'm working on right now. But once those are done, I'm finally going to be able to launch that. And one of the biggest lessons that I advocate for in this course is just start. You don't have to know what your niche is. You don't have to know what you want to make your content around yet. Because you don't know until you know. You don't know until you start actually making content around it, and you realize, oh, I actually don't like talking about fitness. I actually don't like talking about pop culture or reviewing the latest movies. Maybe that's something that you want to keep to yourself. Maybe that's something that it just isn't something that you enjoy talking about and doing content around. And that doesn't mean that you don't enjoy that particular hobby. It just means that in the world of content creation, it just wasn't a good fit for you. And that's fine. There is literally a limitless number of categories and things that you can talk about. Like, it does not have to be a specific thing that you think that you fall under. And the best teacher is experience. You're not going to know how you interact with the camera. You're not going to know what is your talking style. Do you prefer long form content like this, or do you prefer more short form content like a YouTube short or a TikTok or an Instagram reel? Do you prefer doing highlight reels? Do you prefer going out and taking pictures and doing landscape photos and flying drones? Is that a hobby of yours that you enjoy? Maybe you make content around that. Or if that's the way that you unwind and let off steam, and you don't want to make that a job, so to speak, then maybe you keep that to yourself, but you post a few pictures on Instagram. The point is that there are a lot of very big content creators that I follow that I respect very much. People like Gary Vee, and he advocates for being on every platform. And he'll talk out of both sides of his mouth sometimes, where he'll say the same thing. He'll say, "Oh, you need to be on every platform," but then in the same breath, talk about don't burn yourself out. And he's right on both aspects, unfortunately. It seems like it's contradictory, but when you think about it, and you think about content in general, think smarter, not harder. So if you find that you are more comfortable with long form content like this and speaking to the camera, and you enjoy doing that, then make sure that you don't have to condense yourself to a 1 minute clip. You can find 1 minute worth of content in this 10-minute segment that you're talking that you can cut out and put on a separate TikTok channel or YouTube Shorts channel or what have you. And you can use that. You can take a selfie. Everybody has the ability to take a selfie these days. I don't think there's anybody that can't at least do that. Now, the quality of those selfies, sure, that might be a little debatable, but I think the other thing that people really need to remember is people gravitate towards authenticity. And the early 2000s and well, I won't say early 2000s, but more like the 2010s, there was this shift towards higher production values and needing to have a studio and all of this stuff. And that's all great. But I think in now March of 2025, people are really starting to push more towards an authentic feel. And most people don't have access to a $100,000 studio. They don't have a $500 microphone. And that's okay, because as long as you're being authentic about what you're talking about, and especially if you're talking about just yourself and your life, then that comes across in your content, and people gravitate towards that. People like that. You don't need to have all that flashy stuff. Is it fun to have? If you enjoy investing in that, go for it. But it's not required for you to actually start a channel. You can start a channel with just a smartphone, and then once you start getting to the swing of it, and you start to get more comfortable, and you start figuring out how you want to talk or what you want to talk about, then you start investing in maybe a wireless mic, or maybe you do set aside a little bit of space in your apartment or your house for an office where you can dedicate to just recording videos like this. You don't overthink it. Don't think that you have to have everything all at once, because that was the trap that I got stuck in. And it's only really until now that, even though I knew I was in the trap, I didn't escape it. I didn't try to push myself out of it. Like there was this mental block where I just felt like I had to do certain things. I needed to reach XYZ milestones before I would be ready to create a YouTube channel. And it's ridiculous, because we all know those channels out there that get millions of views. I love using this example. This guy, he literally just records himself going out unclogging storm drains. That's it. It's a clogged storm drain. He goes out there with a rake. He rakes off a bunch of stuff off the top of the grate, and the water rushes in, and that's it. He makes like a 10-15 minute video of him doing that, and gets literally tens of millions of views. Millions of views. the amount of money that he's making off of that channel, that's a full-time income, and he's unclogging drains. It's just like, it perfectly encapsulates that you don't know what people are going to like, what content people are really going to be drawn to. Something like that people find satisfying. Those kind of satisfying cleaning type TikToks and videos, people love that stuff. And if that's just like, you might think it's just a mundane, boring, everyday part of your life. Other people just might find satisfaction to escape their own life for a few minutes and just watch a satisfying video of water going down a drain. And it sounds ridiculous, but that's the truth of it. And that's the power of social media and content creation, is that it's so life-changing if you just try, just do. You know, you never know what video is going to pop off. There is no hacking the algorithm. There is no keys to virality that are absolute. There just aren't. And anybody who tells you otherwise is just straight up lying. Because yes, are there some fundamental things that you should do? Yes. For example, if you want to start a cooking channel, it'd be a little weird to start talking about video gaming, or to put video game content on it. Now, is it impossible? No. There are variety streamers out there and variety content creators that they themselves view yourself as the person. You are the content, so it doesn't matter what you do. But those channels are a lot harder to really get off the ground as a brand new creator, just because nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows what to expect of you. And it's hard for the algorithm to put you in front of the recommended audience. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do it. You still can do that, as long as you are trying to push yourself out there in other ways. So, I guess all that to say is, don't overthink it. And coming from one of the kings of overthinking and a master perfectionist, I'm telling you right now, just record something. Just start talking. See what starts flowing naturally. Talk to your camera like you're talking to a friend. Don't try to rehearse it and script it. Don't try to. You can do a script, but again, a lot of those times that can come off really inauthentic. If you're talking off the cuff, then some people don't do well speaking off the cuff. Sure. And they can't visualize the fact that talking to your camera or your phone the same way as you talk to a friend. But I would really encourage people that don't have that skill to just try and learn, because it's a learned skill. It is not something that most of those people are just born with. And the more that you try, the more that you just go out and experiment with, are you going for a walk in the woods and that's where you're more comfortable? Do you just feel like you don't have time in the day? That was my biggest excuse for the longest time, was that I didn't feel like I had time. So this is my attempt right now to make sure that I am finding time on my commute to my daily job and making some content, instead of waiting until the end of the day when I'm exhausted and tired and I have stuff to do with the kids and I've got to cook and I've got to clean and all this other stuff, all the other million pieces of minutia of day-to-day life that gets in the way, and I'll do it later. Because that just, before you know it, a month has gone by, 2 months, 6 months, a year, and instead of having started and at least made some progress, now you're 2 years behind. My biggest regret is, if I had stuck with my content creation 6 years ago, I could be doing it as a full-time job. And I just stopped doing it. I just lost sight of it while I was caught up in the minutia of everyday life. I had personal stuff that was going on that distracted me from it. But I could have been talking about that in my process and my struggles, and that in of itself would have been something for people to connect with me on, and to build an audience, and for more people to commiserate with. So don't box yourself in by thinking that you have to do one style of content or not. Don't box yourself in by saying that you will do it when you have more time, because in the end it just becomes excuses, and it just becomes more reasons to delay and put it off. And the longer you put it off, it's like working out. You don't get any you don't gain anything from not putting in any effort. You have to put in some effort, and it will pay off. It is something that takes time. You can't shortcut it. There just is no shortcuts here. So this is my first day of my daily vlog series, and I did go a little bit longer than I think I probably intended, but again, that's me getting into the flow of things and starting to figure things out. And you know, my content is going to evolve, and I'm excited for it, because I've got so many ideas of things that I want to do, and I'm finally feeling energized to do it. So yeah, so just remember, don't hold yourself back, don't limit yourself, don't box yourself in arbitrarily before you even get started, and you never know what will happen. See where it takes you. Till tomorrow, guys. Peace.